Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Everybody, it's Jeff. Hope you're having a good day. It's really been nice here in Maine. Not very hot, probably like 75. And you know, even though it's been a little bit cloudy, the sun's still peeking out every now and then. They had some big thunderstorms up north, and was bad enough it knocked the power and the internet off up there for about 3 days. So we missed that storm, but you know, we get them in the state, and you know, like I said, I've seen some bad ones right here in town here, so it's really lucky that it went by us, but yeah. So anyway, there was this really bad presser that occurred in Trump's office, or whatever the fuck they have it. Everybody's been talking about it. Even a lot of MAGA people are really upset right now. I don't know how much of news you keep up with, but Pam Bondi had come out and said that, you know, well, no, not Pam Bondi, but the FBI, okay, came out and said that they don't have any list that Epstein kept with names on it or anything like that. There is no list, which contradicts everything that Pam Bondi was saying, that she had it on her fucking desk. And so when they confronted her about that yesterday, I think it was, yeah, when they confronted her about it yesterday, she said, well, I had the files, the Epstein files on my desk. And it's like, okay, well then where are the files? Because I remember she holding them up in her head, next to her head. Her and this other guy, they had files, and she says, we got the files right here. And in those files should have been everything that, you know, that they said they were going to have, that they were going to release the list and everything. And everybody, even MAGA, was all excited because, hey, that was going to exonerate their beloved cheese over there, Trump. And they never released it. Instead, they've been delaying, they've been stalling for months. Okay, they've been delaying and stalling, and people were getting pissed in MAGA, because you got people in MAGA who were telling all kinds of fucking lies about Epstein and Trump, and you know, saying, oh, there was nothing going on between. Okay, and they wanted Pam Bondi to release this information to prove, yes, that they were right, and now they're not going to do it. Now they're saying we never had it to begin with. Oh boy. So anyway, let's go to this clip, this video here from Ben Mysalis, who talks more about that, and then we'll come back and discuss it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
That was from a cabinet meeting that just wrapped up before the press. Donald Trump was asked a question about the Trump DOJ claim that the Epstein list never existed, and you saw Donald Trump just absolutely lose it right there. How guilty does he look right there? Let me show you the full context so you can see what went down, and then let me show you more from this disastrous cabinet meeting before the press. It gets worse. Here, watch this.
Sure.
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape from the United States.
Yeah, sure. If
Hey,
I
Pam, could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Next, Donald Trump talks about the military strike on Iran, and the only word he knows is the word skedaddle. And he goes, they went skedaddle. Do you know what skedaddle means? It means skedaddle. Here, play this clip.
No, this was not only the pilots. I mean, those machines flew for 37 straight hours. They didn't stop. They went skedaddle. You know the word skedaddle? It means skedaddle. They dropped the bombs, and somebody said, skedaddle. Let's get the hell out of here. And every bomb hit us.
I mean, what in the world is going on? We can't normalize that behavior, folks. Then CNN tries to ask a question, and Trump goes, I don't do CNN. I don't do CNN. Watch as he continues to lose control. Let's play it.
Can you clear something up, Mr. President, on what you said last night?
Not for CNN.
You said you were send
Not for CNN. Go ahead.
The last jobs, in the last jobs.
Then Donald Trump lies and claims that in California, there are blackouts and brownouts every week. I live in Los Angeles. That is not true, but this is the type of propaganda that they use in North Korea to talk about South Korea, and the incompetent Trump regime is doing it right now. Here, play this clip.
And they're going to have, I think, Doug, a lot of electricity left over, and that electricity is going to be passed into the grid and give us no more, like you look at California. They have blackouts and brownouts every week. They're totally out of control. They have a really incompetent governor.
Donald Trump then attacks a Democratic senator who's Jewish, Chuck Schumer, and he goes, he's Palestinian. So then Donald Trump uses the term Palestinian as a slur to attack a Jewish senator. Here, watch this.
I saw that you gave. Two quick questions.
I saw a Palestinian senator. His name is Schumer. He's a good Palestinian. No, he's a Palestinian. He's become a Palestinian. He's abandoned the Jews. But I saw him say, it's Trump's fault. Yeah, that's right. It's Trump's fault. He was actually, do you ever see John Lovitz, The Liar? Where he goes, yeah, I went to Harvard. That's right. This was Schumer. He goes, yeah, it's Trump's fault. That's right, it's Trump.
Then Donald Trump continues to attack CNN and the reporter who first reported on our own intelligence community's assessment that the strikes in Iran were not as successful as the Trump regime claimed. And Trump goes, we've got a faker. We've got a scamming faker. He continues to lose control. Let's play it.
God, we had a lot of fake reporting, mostly from CNN, where the scammer a writer for CNN, who should be fired, by the way. She was involved with the 51 fake intelligence agents, if you remember that. She did that story, created a story out of it. She created a story out of the laptop from hell, saying it came from Russia, but it actually came from Hunter Biden's bedroom, or worse. Just a scammer, and she's still at CNN, which is pretty amazing. But we'll ask you a question about her. But they came up with this concept that maybe the attack wasn't that good. And I saw it happen right after the attack. I saw this person on CNN. I like to watch the enemy. You learn from the enemy. And I watch, because you have to know where they're coming from. And I watch her say, Anderson, I'm hearing stories that maybe they didn't hit their target. Maybe it wasn't that good a hit. And they were hearing stories. The next day it was a little more, and the next day a little more. After 3-4 days, she was saying, I don't know. I don't think it was that. Except by that time, everybody knew it was hit perfectly. The evidence is in the planes. The pilots are the best evidence. But
then Donald Trump is asked about the catastrophic Texas flash floods, where the death toll is now over 100, with still people missing. Many of the dead are young children, are young girls. And Donald Trump says the response was incredible. He said, "We did a great job." And then he goes, his message is congratulations, you all did amazing. He's saying the response is amazing. He's saying congratulations. What a sick, vile piece of trash he is. Here, play this clip.
The response has been incredible, and the fact that we got along so well, I don't know, I don't even think that's a political thing, but we got along so well, and it was so unified. I think a lot of lives have been saved. That could have been as bad as it was, and you could have lost double or triple. This thing was just really horrible. Well, congratulations on a great job, and appreciate it. I know you're going down. I'll be going down on Friday with...
Then Donald Trump is asked, well, what is your view of FEMA? What's your view of the Federal Emergency Management Agency that you are eliminating? And it seems that FEMA was not prepared and is not prepared for future storms and hurricanes and events like what transpired. And Trump goes, I'll tell you some other time. I've played you all of the clips of Trump and Noam saying they want to eliminate it, but play the clip.
A lot of fun. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I'll tell you some other time. Thank you.
So then Pam Bondi's asked more questions about Epstein, and Trump's asked questions, and she tries to answer it. Remember our report yesterday? Did you see it about the minute that was missing from the Epstein videotape that they purported to say was the tape outside of the prison cell where Epstein died by suicide? Remember that? Well, here's what Pam Bondi says, and she makes it even worse. Here, play this clip.
Back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
She's asked, well, what about people from the prior Trump administration who said that Epstein was an agent for foreign governments and kept a list to blackmail rich men? And you said the list was on your desk. Here, play this clip.
To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And
then Donald Trump says that the BRICS bloc, the economic group of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, he says, if you're a member of the BRICS, you will pay an additional 10% tariff. But then he says the BRICS is dead. So you're going to pay an extra 10% tariff, but you're also dead. And then how is that going to impact the trade negotiations, say, with India? So is there automatically another 10% tariff on India in addition to whatever the hell else you're talking about? Play the clip.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, on the tariff issue, so you've talked about India coming, but then a couple days ago you issued a new tariff threat to members of the BRICS countries for if they aligned with anti-American policies.
10% charge.
That would be India, Brazil,
That's right, they have to pay 10% if they're in BRICS. Because BRICS was set up to hurt us. BRICS was set up to degenerate our dollar and take our dollar as the standard, take it off as the standard. And that's okay if they want to play that game, but I can play that game too. So anybody that's in BRICS is getting a 10% charge.
Is that immediate, sir? Or is that
pretty soon.
If they engage in some behavior?
Well, if they're a member of BRICS, they're going to have to pay 10% tariff just for that one thing, and they won't be a member long. I thought BRICS was, I said this about a year ago, and it largely broke up. But, there are a couple that hang around, but I thought it largely broke up. BRICS is not, in my opinion, not a serious threat. But
more from Pam Bondi here, who's talking about when she told Fox that she had the Epstein list on her desk. And she goes, well, yeah, I told Fox that I had it on my desk, that I had the files on my desk. Okay, well, where the hell are they? Because we know that Trump was all over the Epstein files. Here, play this clip.
It seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Then Donald Trump says, we're done with solar. We're done with wind. He then talks about how he has a friend who saw wind in the windmills in the United States and said, wow, that's so ugly. So now the United States is going to destroy solar and wind energy and go back to coal, while the rest of the world is going with solar and wind energy, often as a bridge to develop safe nuclear energy. But America is going to not do wind and solar right now. This is another kind of just catastrophic malpractice by him. Here, play this clip.
We've reintroduced clean, beautiful coal, because you can do a lot with coal now. Clean, beautiful coal, and natural gas, and all of the other things that we have. But we don't want wind, and we don't want solar, because they're a blight on our country. They hurt our country very badly, and smart countries don't use it. Solar sounds good, I will say, and I like, on occasion, you'll see a roof which is made of solar brick, but it's a smaller use. We need the kind of thing that's going to fire up our plants, and it's not going to be wind, that's very intermittent, as you probably know. But they've spent a fortune. They've spent trillions of dollars on this stuff. And I'll just give you one other story. A friend of mine is very successful guy. He went back to see his mother in Minnesota. Hadn't seen her in a long time, and he wasn't back for 10 years, which isn't a nice story. I mean, you don't see your mother for 10 years. She's got some difficulties, which I know the guy. He does have some difficulties. He's very successful, but probably not the nicest person. It was actually longer than 10 years, but he went back and he told me he wanted to go and look at the valley. There's a valley in Minnesota that he thought was so beautiful. I hadn't seen it in a long time. He's driving along the road and said, I'll use the word gosh. Oh my gosh. He said, oh. He said, it looked like a junkyard. You had 159 windmills. They were all over the place.
And Donald Trump is asked, well, what are you going to do about Putin? You keep saying you're not happy with him. What are you going to do? And then Trump's response is, I'm not happy with him. So the reporter's like, okay, yeah, I get it. You're saying you're not happy with Putin. By the way, Putin's out there mocking you. He's showing nudes of Melania on Russian TV, and on Russian TV, they're mocking you, which is controlled by Putin. And Putin put out a statement. Donald wants to make movies with me and musicals to bridge the cultural divide. That's what he said about your phone call from last week. And then he escalated and has attacked Kyiv worse than ever since he invaded Ukraine. And then so Trump's asked, well, what are you going to do about it, Donald? What are you going to do about it? Because you look so weak and spineless. What the hell are you going to do about it? And then Donald Trump's like, why would I tell you? Why would I tell you? So pathetic. Here, watch this.
We're dealing with him now, too. We're not happy with Putin. I'm not happy with Putin. I can tell you that much right now, because he's killing a lot of people. And a lot of them are his soldiers and their soldiers, mostly. And it's now up to 7,000 a week. And I'm not happy with Putin. Okay, any questions? Yes.
Yes, sir. You just said you're not happy with Vladimir Putin. Is there anything that you plan to do to act on that feeling of unhappiness?
Well, I wouldn't be telling you. Don't we want to have a little surprise? One of the things we did with the attack is that, you asked that question. I didn't mean to be rude, but I'm rude because I'm looking at some of these crooked people up here. So I'm rude, but your question was asked very nicely. But one of the things we did is we went over every fact. We wanted to get every fact straight. We wanted to have the distance straight, the number of pilots straight. Everything had to be correct, because this was a very important mission. If we failed on this mission, it was beyond the war that, obviously we had with Iran and Israel, a lot of hatred, a lot of years and years of hatred, centuries of hatred. People have never seen anything like it. So we wanted to be correct with all our facts. So what I was doing is just asking. It would be great if the media would be correct with their facts. That's all we ask for. So go ahead. So finish it.
Then Donald Trump is asked, look, on that last jobs report, by the way, which Midas Touch called out as being totally phony in my view, after we saw the private payroll ADP data, which showed 33,000 jobs lost, and then miraculously 147,000 jobs were created on Donald Trump's list, on Donald Trump's jobs report. It just so happened to be the number 147, sure. And all of that came from government jobs, even though they were cutting government jobs. And there were 7,000 manufacturing jobs lost on the Trump report, because they couldn't fudge those numbers because those were part of the private payroll numbers. But anyway, Trump's responses regarding losing 7,000 manufacturing jobs last month when he promised a manufacturing boom, and there was a manufacturing boom under Biden. Trump goes, we're building plants. There's 7 plants. What are you just making up numbers, number one? And number two, there was a manufacturing boom under Biden, and now you're shutting down wind and solar and all these new manufacturing developments. Play this.
Mr. President, in the last jobs report, the manufacturing jobs actually lost 7,000 jobs. When will the investments that you've been talking about have an effect on
they're building the plants now. About 7 have started. We're going to have hundreds started within a short period of time.
But Donald Trump says he has a trusted source. Xi Jinping is telling him. And he goes, Xi Jinping tells me that he doesn't have wind farms. They don't have wind farms in China. They have the most. Donald, idiot. They have the most, double in China than anywhere else in the world. They're the leader. So if Xi Jinping is saying that to you, he's playing you for the fool that you are, or you're just making up conversations and you are a fool. Play the clip.
To what they'll be in about a year from now, but we're setting records. And wind is a very expensive form of energy. It's very bad for your beautiful surroundings, the plains and the valleys, and the birds are dying all over the place. The whole thing is a disaster. They're almost exclusively made in China. Not that I have anything against China, because I don't have a great relationship with President Xi, but I asked him, how many wind farms do you have? He makes them, but they don't have a lot of wind farms, I'll tell you, very, very few. And wind is tremendously expensive and is very ugly. And if you own a house that's inside of a windmill, your house is worth less than half.
And then Fox just had enough of it, and Fox cuts the coverage while Donald Trump starts talking about how you can't paint moldings with a gold paint, he says. And then Fox is like, we done. Play this clip.
It's nothing. We also painted the room a nice color, beige color. And it's been really something. The only question is, will I gold leaf the corners? You could maybe tell me my cabinet could take a vote. You see the top line moldings, and the only question is, do you gold leaf it? Because you can't paint it. If you paint it, it won't look good, because they've never found a paint that looks like gold. You see that in the Oval Office.
All right, we're about half past the hour here. This is America Reports. We have been watching this cabinet meeting happening live as Caroline Levitt.
Oh, and before I go, I just have to show you one more time when Donald Trump goes, you still talking about Epstein? You still talking? Because you talked about him. The whole campaign, you and all the people who are sitting there at that cabinet meeting with you, we're talking about him. That's why you made that your issue. And we knew you were on the list because you're all over the files that have already been released. Anyway, here's what he says. Let's play it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
A disaster presser with his cabinet meeting. There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million.
Blackouts and brownouts in Los Angeles happening every day. Really? What kind of movie has he been watching there where that's been going on, okay? That's news to everybody in Los Angeles. This guy, honestly, he can't even tell the truth about the simplest fucking thing. He's trying to make Governor Newsom paint this man as the worst governor in the history of the universe, okay? And in order to make that work, he's got to lie about everything. All right? That's something a kid would do. And we got to remember, you know, when a person is suffering with dementia or Alzheimer's or something, they do revert back in their minds to a childhood mentality. Okay? And if you watched the, you know, this briefing, presser or whatever you want to call it, he was all over the map. Trump, he was talking about every fucking thing that came to mind. It wasn't organized. You know, usually when you have a press conference, when the president's talking, there is a you know, an itemized fucking thing they're going to talk about, and you can follow it. With him, he deviates, he backtracks, he's over here, he's over there. You know, his fucking speeches don't mean shit. He talks a lot, but he don't say much. He just bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. And while he's doing that, his cabinet's sitting around him, you know, giggling and laughing, and, you know, they don't seem to care. You know, that, hey, you know what, your guy's lying, and it's so easy to fact check this son of a bitch that you guys are going to be, this is going to be eggs in your face again when the press comes out and asks you, just like what happened to Pam Bondi. She walked out of there with her face dripping with eggs, okay, because they nailed her. You said that you had the list, you told everybody you had the list, and where the fuck is it, you know, and oh, I ain't got it, I never had it, I had files, I didn't have a list, you know, all of a sudden now it's okay, all of that means one thing. Whatever they had, it had Trump's name big time all over it, and that they had to get rid of that. I mean, if they released that thing redacted, it would have looked like a painting of Midnight on the Ocean. Okay, that's how bad it was. There was no fucking way they could release that, because Trump's name was all over that fucking thing. All right? Not even a redacted version of that would have been safe to release to the public, to the press, or whatever. Okay? So they had to fall on their sword, all of them, in order to keep that from becoming public knowledge. And Trump's sitting there, you guys still talking about Epstein? Well, you're the one that brought it up. You know, it's you guys that keep bringing it up. You tell us you're going to do something, and we're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. Why wouldn't we be talking about it still? You got half the damn country sitting on pins and needles hoping to exonerate Trump, and now you can't do it. Because, oh, now we ain't got anything. We have nothing. Forget about it. What we said we don't have. We lied. Okay? They might as well just say that, because that's what they did. They lied. And they had dragged in all kinds of MAGA talking heads right into that trap, and now they're all crying because now they can't say anything to prove their fucking points that they were trying to make about him. Now they're just as useless a talker as Trump is now. These people went out on a limb, you know, once again, the suckers that they are. You know, that shouldn't surprise us. You know, MAGA is, you know, if there's anybody watching this that does scams, okay, find somebody that's a MAGA Republican, okay? You got a better chance of scamming them than anybody else, okay? Those people are gullible beyond fucking belief. Jesus, I never thought people could be that gullible, okay, growing up. I never thought that. I always thought, well, the elderly, because, you know, they can't keep up with the times. But no, it goes way beyond that. Okay, MAGA encompasses a lot of people, young and old, and just when you think you've got them figured out, they surprise you again. You know, I don't do CNN. Yeah, he doesn't like anybody that fact checks him. Okay, he calls them fake news. He tries to smear them, you know, in his useless two-dimensional fashion, which doesn't work, because at the end of the day, the truth gets out no matter if he is willing to accept it or not. Okay. And then he slams Chuck Schumer, calls him a Palestinian. What the fuck? You know, his racism knows no bounds. I mean, he can say shit like that and nobody thinks that's wrong. No, they sit there, they giggle about it. He's a Palestinian. You hear the others laughing behind him. You know, wow. Boy, that talk about a way of a bad presidency. Talk about a presidency that reveals the stain that it has on it, you know, so proudly. You know, Jesus. Never seen that in our country. Rambling and lying. saying nasty shit, still bragging about his attack on Iran when it was way less than successful. Okay, everybody that's been saying says, well, you might have hit them, but the damage isn't going to last very long. They'll fix that. And you can forget about Iran ever following any more UN rules about no nuclear weapons. They're going to do it now, whether they like it or not. And there's not a fucking thing you're going to do to stop them. You opened up a can of worms now. That's going to bite us in the ass from here on out. You know, and yeah, he drops Hunter Biden's laptop in there. Talk about old fucking news, okay? That's already been resolved. That whole thing. But yeah, that, like 50 years from now, they're still going to be bitching about Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay, that's MAGA right there. Okay, they can't move on. That's something that they couldn't get them on. And yet they're going to keep harping and harping about that long after they're dead and buried. You know, their descendants will keep bragging and harping about that. Okay, it's amazing. It's just totally amazing. I want to read this here article that was published today from Variety Online, written by Todd Spangler, entitled Alex Jones Breaks Down in Tears After DOJ FBI Release Epstein Memo Finding No Evidence of a Client List. Many in the MAGA movement are in a state of anger and disbelief over the Justice Department and FBI's memo disclosing that there was no evidence of a Jeffrey Epstein client list that incriminated powerful people amid his perpetration of child sexual abuse. Among those was right-wing conspiracy nut Alex Jones, who posted a video showing his raw reaction to the memo. The memo, released Monday by the DOJ and the FBI, available on the link they got provided here, says that, quote, exhaustive review, unquote, of Epstein documents found, quote, no credible evidence, unquote, that Epstein, quote, blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties, unquote. Axios broke news of the memo on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, if you want to see the video of that, you'll have to go to variety.com and, you know, write down the title of that article there. The link is in what I just wrote. But you know, that's just one small example of how pissed off MAGA is, okay? Because they were looking forward to, you know, seeing Trump exonerated. Says Jones shared his reaction in a video posted on X, okay, in which he teared up discussing the Epstein case. Quote, the DOJ is running cover for the CIA and Mossad. No one is buying this. Next, the DOJ will say, actually, Jeffrey Epstein never even existed. This is over the top sickening, unquote. Quote, it's beyond insane. You couldn't try to hurt yourself worse. You couldn't try to discredit the FBI worse than what they've done, unquote. Jones criticized U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi, who had told Fox News in February the 21st, I'm sorry, that an alleged list of Epstein's sex trafficking clients was, quote, sitting on my desk right now, unquote. Her own words. Okay, quote, all those videos are saying, yeah, she's seen the videos, it's all coming out, and then now it doesn't exist. I mean, what? Unquote, Jones said in the video. Jones also speculated that FBI Director Kash Patel and FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino are, quote, being tortured, unquote, and said, quote, I think you see them losing their souls on live TV, unquote. Quote, so this is the swamp winning, unquote, Jones said. Quote, the question is, I know I'm quoting a lot here because that's the way they wrote this. Quote, the question is Trump's DOJ actually using this to control the deep state, or are they just so overwhelmed by it they are tapping out, unquote. Jones, who shot the video in his car, At another point became tearful and said, quote, I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up. Actually, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now because I have integrity. Jesus Christ. I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. Oh boy, I think I'm going to puke. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out, unquote. Jones then added, quote, the left, they're all complicit. They're openly promoting pedophilia. We know they're pure evil and they'll think it's all funny. Oh, look, Alex is sad. MAGA's tearing itself apart, unquote. That's schizophrenia kicking in. Jones and his company InfoWars filed for bankruptcy after the families of victims in the Sandy Hook mass shooting in Connecticut won judgments in 2022 totaling nearly $1.5 billion against Jones in defamation lawsuits. Jones had repeatedly promoted baseless conspiracy theories about the Sandy Hook massacre. On February the 27th, Bondi, who was appointed by Trump, declassified and publicly released the quote-unquote first vase of files related to Epstein and his sexual exploitation of over 250 underage girls at his home in New York and in Florida, among other locations, unquote, according to a Department of Justice announcement. Many of the documents had already been public. Elon Musk, amid an escalating feud with President Trump that exploded last month, claimed in a June 5th post on X, which he has since deleted, that Trump is in the Epstein files, which he asserted, quote, is the real reason they haven't been made public, unquote. Well, no shit, Elon. We didn't have to know, we didn't have to have you to tell us that. Everybody knew. And that's one of the reasons why MAGA is so upset, because they, this war here between Trump and Elon, okay, has split MAGA as well. And so this meant so much to them to have this information released, for them to decide one way or the other whether Elon was bullshitting them or not, and whether they should trust Trump or not. But I got news for you guys. Even if it came out and Trump's name was all over that thing, you guys would still support his ass, because that's the kind of cuckold you are. All right? That's what you people do. You kiss his ass and he can do no wrong. The DOJ FBI memo said the FBI, quote, conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored, unquote. It continuing, quote, these searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, unquote. The files relating to Epstein, quote, include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography, unquote. The DOJ FBI memo said, quote, consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims, unquote. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosures of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography, unquote, the DOJ FBI memo said. Quote, one of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. Well, bringing justice to the victims, well, it didn't seem to work for that lady there that killed herself, recently. I can't remember her name, but there was pictures of her and Prince William, who was hanging out with Epstein when she was just a young girl. That she was being trafficked sexually. So don't tell me that the DOJ, the FBI are trying to do their best to bring justice to victims. No, you ain't done shit on that. Instead, you've been too busy trying to cover shit up, because Trump's name is all over that fucking crap. That's what you've been doing. Okay? Fawning justice for these people. You guys put them last in this entire mess, and it shows. It shows bad. And you got people saying that Epstein was murdered in a cell when they're saying, oh, he killed himself, he hung himself. Yeah, right. And all the video, tapes and everything, that's all gone to prove one way or the other. But he probably was killed, probably because of that list. People want that fucking list. And Ghislaine there, whatever her name is there, she's not going to talk, I think. I guess she's just, I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they cut her loose or something or whatever to shut her up, I guess. I don't know. But this is something, that Trump is not going to be able to duck. Okay, whether there's a resolution to this story or not, it's going to follow him the rest of his days, okay? And it's going to follow his family. Because there's a truth there that they don't want us to see. And we already know what that is. So when it does, if it ever comes out, we're not going to be shocked. We're just going to be upset that it took so long for the truth to get out. Okay, we're going to be that pissed. And everybody's going to say, well, if I knew that, I never would have voted for him. Okay, and those people that did, they'd be lying to themselves if they said that. It's not going to exonerate you either. Okay, you're, what was it like what Liz Cheney said? Long after that fat bastard's dead and buried, you guys are still going to bear the dishonor of having voted for him. Including her, by the way, because she supported just about everything he did. When he was president the first time around. So Liz Cheney will be no less responsible and having to share the burden of dishonor of having supported him. Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis, I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins, I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Mission and a splashing over the horizon, what can it be? The Pilgrims sailed the sea to find a place to call their own. In their ship Mayflower, they hoped to find a better home. They finally knocked on Plymouth Rock, and someone said, we're there. It may not look like home, but at this point I don't care. Oh, they were missing Mother England. They swore their loyalty until the very end. Anything you say, King, it's okay, King. You know it's kind of scary on your own. Gonna build a new land the way we planned. Could you help us run it till it's grown? They planted corn, you know. They built their houses one by one. And bit by bit they worked until the colonies were done. They looked around, yeah, up and down, and someone said, hooray! If the king could only see us now, he would be proud of us today. They knew that now they'd run their own land. But George III still vowed he'd rule them to the end. Anything I say, do it my way now. Anything I say, do it my way. Don't you get to feeling independent, 'cause I'm gonna force you to obey. He taxed their property, he didn't give them any choice. And back in England, he didn't give them any voice. That's called taxation without representation, and it's not fair. But when the colonies complained, the king said, I don't care. He even has the nerve to tax our cup of tea. To put it kindly, King, we really don't agree. Gonna show you how we feel. We're gonna dump this tea and turn this harbor into the biggest cup of tea in history. They wanted no more Mother England. They knew the time had come for them to take command. It's very clear you're being unfair, King. No matter what you say, we won't obey. Gonna hold a revolution now, King, and we're gonna run it all away with no more king.
We're gonna elect a president.
No more king.
He's gonna do what the people want.
No more king.
We're gonna run things our way.
No more king. Nobody's gonna tell us what to do. Rocking and a rolling, slishing and a splashing over the horizon. What can it be? Looks like it's going to be a free country.
I thought I'd just get head spins, not nicotine poisoning.
Oh my god. His vape taped. I wanted to be social. I didn't want the addiction that took over.
I thought it was just a bit of fun, but not being able to breathe because of lung damage is definitely not fun.
It's proven that vapes cause real harm. Every vape is a hit to your health. For more proof, search vaping harms.
How to use a pump to get bigger. Hi, I'm Clarissa from Our Doctor, and we're talking about pumps and the benefits of using male enlargement and enhancement vacuum pumps. The male enhancement pump is a very easy to use and effective medical grade device to help men achieve a fuller erection and reduce premature ejaculation. This digital and waterproof device can be issued without a doctor's prescription. How do you use one? It's quite easy. Simply insert your penis shaft into the pump tube, power it up, then choose your desired setting. You may feel a suction, which is a good thing. This is drawing blood into the penis vessels. This causes a swelling effect to give you temporary, more significant, and more complex erection results for up to 24 hours. Permanent results can be achieved with regular daily sessions just by using this pump. If you suffer from erectile dysfunction or are looking to increase your size, this pump is proven to work. Due to genetic or hormonal factors, men born with micropenis or a tiny penis should also consider this product. The reason why is because you have additional skin growth around your penis and it's buried. This condition is not uncommon. However, using a pump like this one or having an outpatient procedure done can resolve this issue. From the men who have used the pump, they'll say it's given them a quarter to a full inch in length after using it for about 5 to 10 minutes before their sexual encounter. Some men like to take either sildenafil or tadalafil in conjunction with this pump, so they can achieve even longer lasting results. If you have any questions about our products or services, you can check us out on our website or call us, and we have doctors and specialists that can answer any of your questions. Thanks for watching. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and post any questions you may have in the comments below. See you next time.
Stephen Miller designed it. Donald Trump demanded it. Kristi Noem and Holman ordered you to do it. Illegal deportations, mass raids, rounding up people who are here legally, arresting citizens, family separations, snatching students off the street for tweeting, detention without hearings, shipping them to foreign prisons, deportations defying court orders. When government agents like you abuse your power, when you trample civil and constitutional rights, you can be held personally liable in civil court. You can lose everything, and Trump can't pardon you. That includes ICE, that includes CBP, contractors, DOJ, even the White House. Yep, every last Trump official pulling the strings. Even, well, especially the lawyers. If you think you're safe behind badges and titles, you're wrong. You do a hard, dangerous job. You're vital to our security. But what they have you doing now isn't law enforcement. It's just lawless, and you'll pay the price for following illegal orders.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Okay, so here's a name that came up here that we haven't heard from in a while, and that's Ann Coulter. Okay, I guess she felt like too much of the spotlight was focused on everybody else, and it's like, oh, don't forget about me. So what does she do? Well, we'll find out in this article. I'm going to read this. This is from the Huffington Post, written by Kelby Vera. Was uploaded yesterday, and it's entitled Ann Coulter Draws Outrage Over Vile Post About Killing Native Americans. Ann Coulter is facing backlash for a violent remark about Native Americans. On Sunday, the far-right pundit reposted a video of University of Minnesota professor and Navajo Nation member Melanie Yazzie, Y-A-Z-Z-I-E, discussing decolonization and climate change at a 2023 conference. Quote, "We didn't kill enough Indians," unquote, Coulter wrote in the since deleted post. You see, even if you write a post and you delete it, there's already copies of it all over the place. And I think she knows that. The comment sparked swift condemnation from indigenous leaders and others. Chuck Hoskin Jr., principal chief of the Cherokee Nation, called the post, quote, "beyond abhorrent," unquote, and, quote, "dangerous hate speech," unquote, in a Facebook statement. Quote, Coulter's statement, on its face, is a despicable rhetorical shot trained on the first peoples of this continent, designed to dehumanize and diminish us and our ancestors, and puts us at risk of further injury, unquote, he wrote. Quote, "We've faced enough of that since this country's founding," unquote, Hoskin continued. Quote, "This kind of rhetoric has fueled the destruction of tribes, their life ways, languages, and cultures, the violation of treaty rights, and the perpetuation of violence and oppression," unquote. Hoskin added how Coulter's words did, quote, "not take place in a vacuum," unquote, but come amid a rise in attacks on marginalized people, quote, "used to score political points, to advance policy agendas, and sometimes to scare people to advance all of that and more," unquote. Quote, "The country frequently seems on the verge of political violence," unquote, he wrote. Well, Coulter's post implicitly encourages it, unquote. Though he acknowledged the temptation to ignore such rhetoric, Hoskin warned against letting hate speech go unchecked. Quote, "We can get used to the frequent attacks and watch silently as this group and that group is dehumanized and diminished," unquote, he said. Continued, quote, "Hatred in the public will become white noise, except as just the way it is. Alternatively, we can speak out against it," unquote. Continuing, quote, "What Ann Coulter said is heartless, vicious, and should be repudiated by people of good faith, regardless of political philosophy or party. Some things are simply wrong, and we cannot validate it through our silence," unquote. Asking others to join him in speaking up, he said he remained, quote, "optimistic that people of goodwill across parties, faiths, philosophies, regions, races, political status can work to unify the country, unquote, and reject Coulter's comments. Vice President of the Wichita and affiliated tribes, Tasha Moseo, also called out Coulter for invoking a deeply dated colonial mindset. Quote, in Indian country, either in the Western sense with education or taking our traditions back and learning our languages, we say that we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, she told Oklahoma's public radio. Quote, I would argue that she's her ancestors' wildest dreams. She is what colonizers would like to continue in this country. I agree with that. I agree with that. Along with tribal leaders like Hoskin and Masao, the Oklahoma Democratic Party called the post, quote, beyond disgusting, unquote, and called people to boycott Coulter in a statement which was reported by Native News Online. People have been trying to boycott her since Christ. I mean, you know, her mouth runs out of control. It's like there's no filter between her brain and her mouth. She just, whatever the hell comes to mind, there must be a name for that. I mean, there's got to be. I mean, with all the disorders that we have for, you know, names for disorders out there, there's got to be one that fits her. I've never seen a person who's always lining up to be shot all the time, because, you know, you would think she's going to cross the line, and yet she crosses that line, and we have to move the goalposts. You know, she's going to cross that line, then she crosses it again. There's no end to this with her. She's a vile animal, and I wish people would just, you know, shut her up somehow. I don't know what the hell to say, but she's hateful. I mean, all she wants to do is create a fucking riot in this country of people killing people. You know, she knows that these things keep her in the news, okay? And she's willing to keep doing it and writing her books, you know, because that's how she makes a living. That means she's not very smart. I mean, she might know how to write a book, but she's not very smart in any other way, because because all she wants to do is just talk and say hateful, nasty things, because that, you know, she's from that era in this country here where Rush Limbaugh began, where, hey, angry hate speech makes money, and she's going to keep doing that until her dying day. Okay, she's a relic of a different era, and here we are today, and there's still people doing it because they figure, well, if Limbaugh and Coulter and all these others can get away with it and make money, then so can we. It's the easy way to make money. You don't have to really work hard for it, you know. And the internet makes it easier for a lot of people to do that, because you know, they cut the middleman out. But the thing is that, you know, she has never contributed one good thing in this country. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, bullshit, she spoke the truth. Okay, well, you know, if you're going to say that, I don't even want to hear it, okay, because you're full of shit. She's a vile animal. Her mouth is a weapon, and she knows how to use it. She knows how to use it. Yeah, freedom of speech, fine. But that doesn't mean protection from what you say. Okay, if you cause a problem and it becomes a crime, then your freedom of speech is not going to protect you all the way, okay? And, you know, getting people all pissed off and angry to the point of going out there and committing crimes, that's not freedom of speech. You're taking it beyond that. You've taken it to the next level, okay, where you're inciting riots and stuff like that through what you say. That's the same shit that Donald Trump did. And that wasn't right then. I don't care if he was convicted or not of that. Okay, the fact is, it was wrong. Inciting a riot is not legal. It's illegal, and it's a punishable offense. But that's what Coulter has been doing all her fucking career, is trying to incite violence. Okay, and when she can't get it, she'll keep targeting different people. At some point, somebody is going to have enough, just like with Alex Jones. Somebody at some point is going to have enough, and they're going to sue the shit out of her or sue the shit out of him. Okay, of course it didn't shut up Alex Jones, right? He's still on there, but in a smaller degree. He's still out there, okay? But he's less than he was, you know, and I don't think it really matters to him. I think he feels that he can regain all that he lost simply by continuing to do what he's been doing. Okay? So, there's that. And let me read this this last article here. It's from Daily Beast, written by Leigh Kimmins, entitled "MAGA Shills Mocked for Being Suckered by Bogus Epstein Files." A gaggle of MAGA influencers has become a laughingstock after the Department of Justice poured cold water on conspiracies about alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. In February, the White House invited a group of conservative influencers to celebrate receiving declassified information about Epstein, who died in a jail cell as he awaited his trial on sex trafficking charges in 2019. Attendees were given white binders emblazoned with the DOJ seal and the words, quote, "The Epstein Files Phase 1, unquote. Jesus Christ. The first tranche of files, around 200 documents, contained redacted flight logs, a contact list, a log of mass uses, and an evidence list detailing items found at Epstein's property. At the end of February, the DOJ said it, quote, remained committed to transparency and intends to release the remaining documents upon review and redaction to protect the identities of Epstein's victims, unquote. However, no new information has been forthcoming. A leaked memo obtained by Axios suggests that the DOJ and the FBI have effectively closed the case. Quote, "We were all told more was coming," unquote, wrote right-wing commenter Jack Fosabek on X. Quote, "That answers were out there and would be provided," unquote. The memo found no evidence that Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, was murdered, or kept a list of clientele. All conspiracy theories that Epstein truthers hoped would be corroborated. Well, then you might as well let Ghislaine Maxwell go, right? If there was no list, right? What the hell was she there for? Okay, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties," unquote, the memo said. MAGA influencers expressed dismay at the news and continued to demand answers. Quote, "Incredible how utterly mismanaged this Epstein mess has been, and it didn't have to be," unquote, Posobiec wrote on X Sunday, adding, quote, "Victims deserve better," unquote. He called out, okay, wait, let me stop right there. Victims deserve better. When was the last time anybody in MAGA gave a shit about fucking victims? Huh? Victims deserve better. Oh, it's only when it matters to them, when it cares, but any other time they could care less. Like the people that's in Texas here drowned, okay? How many people now so far? Of 100 or so, you know? They don't care about them, okay? No, they don't want to hear about, you know, how Trump was responsible for that. He called out Attorney General Pam Bondi, who publicly promised to unseal further documents relating to the case. Quote, "When will Pam Bondi be filing to unseal the Epstein files from the criminal case? We were promised everything," he wrote. MSNBC contributor and progressive YouTuber Brian Tyler Cohen reminded him of the crass PR stunt at the White House just weeks into Trump's second term. Quote, "Maybe they're in the binder you waved around," unquote, Cohen wrote, sharing a selfie Posobiec had taken during that event. In a separate post, he tagged the White House group and said, quote, "Remember when the White House trotted out their mouthpieces while pretending that they were going to release Epstein's client list? How does it feel to have fooled the rubes in your the rubes in your party?" Unquote. MAGA podcaster Chad Prather also demanded answers. Quote, "Where is the Epstein info the American people were promised? You handed us a notebook and promised more was on the way. You told us it existed and now you say it doesn't. America deserves answers," unquote. Yeah, it does deserve answers, and it deserves some goddamn answers about all the shit they've been cutting into here to kick the knees out from under the poor. As with Fasobik, commentators on X rushed to mock Prather. Quote, "So what was in the binder, Chad? Looks like you got played like the rest of us. Welcome to the club," unquote, one person said. Others dug in their heels on Epstein conspiracies. DC Drano's Rogan O'Handley complained of, quote, "a shameful cover-up to protect the most heinous elites," unquote. Quote, "We were told multiple times the files would be released, and now it looks like backroom deals have been made to keep them hidden," unquote. He wrote on X, quote, "We all know Epstein has a long client list of powerful names," unquote. He said that if the leaked memo reported on by Axios is true, it constitutes a, quote, "shameful chapter in our country's history," unquote. Owner of the Libs of TikTok account, Chaya Raychik, retweeted a post from right-wing commentator Robbie Starbuck that featured a February clip of Bondi on Fox News saying she was reviewing the files at the behest of President Donald Trump. Quote, "Pam Bondi said the Epstein client list was on her desk to review for release to the public just a few months ago. Now the DOJ says leads claims that there is no Epstein client list. Sorry, but this is unacceptable. Was she lying then, or is she lying now? We deserve answers," unquote. Comedian Tim Young asserted on X that the group of influencers had been played. Quote, "If the Axios piece is true, then all the influencers who were handed binders at the White House were completely set up," unquote. Another commentator mocked up the image of the influencers gleefully leaving the White House in February, adding egg to their faces. Quote, "MAGA went from release the Epstein list on day one to social media influencers should be the only people to see the list to there never was a list within 150 days. Yeah. So, okay, that pretty much illustrates how MAGA is really pissed. And I think they're pissed for a lot of different reasons. Okay, a lot of them wanted to see Bill Clinton's name brought up in that. Okay, they're not going to see that either now. And there's probably a lot of other names on there that they would never have thought would be in there, that that those people in the DOJ and the FBI know would stir the shitstorm if they ever got released. Okay, I would think Alan Dershowitz, he spent a lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, there could be other names, big names. We already have Prince Williams. Okay, we already know that one, but. It's just more of the same kind of shit that you would expect in a Trump White House. A man who is surrounded by goddamn controversy and corruption is straight to the core. We've never, ever seen this much bad shit happen in the White House, ever, okay? You want to talk about somebody that done something that no other person in history has ever done? Trump is your guy, but those things that he's done in such a big multitude of ways aren't good things. He is actually the worst president to date. He's even worse than Trump 1.0. So he's actually set a new low for presidents. Okay, and like I said, I rarely ever want to think of him as a president. I think he is the anti-president of the United States. He's the first pseudo-dictator. Okay, and I wouldn't even want to put his name in the list of names of people who have been president in this country. I think it should stop at Joe Biden. I don't even think Trump 1.0 name ought to be on there. Okay, I don't think he should be allowed on there on that list at all, because he's been doing everything but be presidential. And the proof is all around us, people. The proof is everywhere. All right, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, share, keep your ears open for health issues, and treat your neighbors nice, because good karma is good karma. You can get it where you can get it, right? I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.